Hello and welcome to today's Saving live stream. I hope we have had only a little bit of a pre-check. I know this seems to be how we start.
Yeah. Huh? Okay, good.
Excellent connection. At least it says that it's great.
Yeah, I think it works.
Okay, great. Always nice to know that YouTube at least sees our connection. It has been an interesting couple of weeks, I guess. More for me than for Saving. I'm sorry, maybe let's address that. I'm sorry that it was personal reasons on my end that we weren't able to do the live stream last Thursday, like 2 weeks ago on a Thursday. Yeah. Some people in the community might know, but yeah. Interest like personal developments and stuff, and I appreciate your understanding for us skipping that one. Other than that, I hope that we will have a lovely conversation today with all the people who are already here. We have not gotten tons of questions in here, and overall, I maybe that's also a good thing. A little shout out, Innovator Dev and Odin, who's not Odin anymore, but I will call him. It. I will call him like that.
Maybe it was confidential, you know. Or can you see? Or can you see previous usernames on Discord?
You can.
Okay.
Insert NFT here is great help to so many people, and we appreciate all that help. So I guess most questions have been answered. We have gotten one, but I don't know if we will get into this, about people trying to modify Portmaster and trying to do installer stuff. That's only in the general stuff. Okay, so we might get into this if you want to address it and how we're gonna make stuff easier in the future. But it's not
now's pretty much the worst time to get into this because we're so close to bringing major improvements to this.
Yeah, that's what I keep on telling people as well. Don't do this right now. Wait a second.
Yeah.
That's every time somebody from NixOS chimes in and comes my way, and I'm getting DMs from those people as well. Love you all. But I'm always like, you are a little bit too eager. You only want to do this small change, and we understand. But we're currently, and I think we have been talking about this for the whole year now, but we're currently reworking a lot of things to make them easier to work with in general, and to make them easier to install offline in general. And one of those things will be a topic for today. Compatibility.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And stability.
Just drop that.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Okay, then continue.
First, I want to address that we did not change our company logo, although both Rafa and I are sitting here with the same T-shirt with the same logo on it. That's not the company logo. We happen to wearing the same brand today, a brand that we like very much, that produces workwear normally. So we're not really their target group, but whatever. Yeah, and also we just realized, just to get that stuff out of the way, we just realized today that it's Halloween. And we're like, oh shit, do we have to
address that?
Do something about it? We're like, yeah, we don't know. So
that's our awkward.
We don't have any spooky jokes for you yet, but maybe some will come along the lines when creativity sparks at some point. So
Discord has spooky. Do you have sound active on Discord? They actually
I saw a notification on Discord where they're like, "Ooh, now you have spooky notifications." I'm like,
I hate them.
I totally understand why Discord is not kind of an enterprise software, like an enterprise team kind of communication software. No, that's just really not their target group. Wow. Yeah, so also we're not in the US, so in Austria Halloween isn't that big as in the US, so it's kind of there's other stuff here going on.
But alla helgona scene.
Yeah, that's one thing we have in Austria. Of course, Germany has something else too. So, yeah.
Maybe to quickly say hello to Mike. Thank you, Mike, for joining us. He says he's listening while driving and will stop to chat at traffic lights. Exactly. Don't text and drive. So thank you for joining in and being, so supportive and joining us each live stream, and even has waited last time. So I'm sorry for disappointing you to not actually having that one last time. So
Have you seen the ads from our highway company in Austria that
yeah.
about kind of their separate stops for texting?
Oh, those I have not seen. No.
That's so funny. I don't know if it just mean the normal like stops, but they're we have kind of there are separate spaces for you to stop and text and then continue driving. I just found that funny.
Yeah, I only read the overhead
it's
stuff.
catering to a target group then I'm not a part of. Who people actually start texting? Oh shit. Apparently, people actually text while driving. Okay, let's just continue to the next topic.
When I finished my CSSP, I texted so many people while driving in heavy traffic in Vienna. Was not a ton of fun, and I came out alive. So, and I think everybody around me
your
as well.
car does a lot for you.
That's true. That's true. But I was taking pictures of the thingy-majig, like the paper and stuff, and I was texting to a couple of people, and I got the response, "Don't text and drive," so many times on that day. Yeah. Zzz. Hey guys. Hey to you too. Thank you for joining our live stream. I don't recognize your name, so if you change it, all is fine. Just as a quick intro, this is more of a conversational live stream. We typically have a major topic that we want to sort of touch on as well. Daniel did not want to get into that yet. We typically also collect questions in advance or in the comments of the last one and then address those. And if you just joined in, we have so many cool people in the community answering all the questions, so we don't have that much to talk about currently. So if you have any, please just use the YouTube chat or hop over to Discord and use that one. If you're not scared of the new notification noises, that is. But yeah, please just let us know your questions.
Okay, are we ready to actually hop in?
I don't know. I hope. Okay. You did not want to when I first segued
I wanted to get all the other stuff out of the way first.
Okay, sure.
Okay, good. So, topic today is let's kind of
get into the topic.
Start where you know where we are. So we're still I'm kind of finalizing the last bits of the new update system now. So that's almost finished. That's very cool. I like the simplicity and stability of the new update system.
What does it come with?
And that's part of...
What's new about it?
What's new about it is that it's simpler and will be able to better integrate with the new installers and everything. So it will be a lot better, easier for people also to customize the install process for their distro for NixOS, as we heard today already. And other distros that have special needs regarding updates and their system management and stuff like that. So yeah, that will help a lot there. We don't know yet when we can actually push that because it also comes with breaking changes that we're not sure if we can somehow circumvent or we'll need a version 2 kind of breaking change upgrade thing. And so we're still figuring this out. And so kind of version 2 is the topic that kind of we've talked about the last half year, where a lot of stability stuff comes together and everything that can be released kind of without a breaking change already is in the beta, and in the next weeks that will go into stable. So the stable channel will get all the nice stability improvements that we've been working on and testing for the last months. And we're started working on the next one. So the next stability feature is also a compatibility feature. And what we'll be doing is we're gonna add more compatibility regarding DNS. So DNS is always a hot topic because, of course, it's always DNS.
Yeah, so many T-shirts out there.
Yeah, so that means that it's a saying, if you don't know it, that kind of DNS is very often the part that fails for various reasons.
Always
which
has
means
been.
it feels you don't have access to the internet, which technically isn't really true, but if you can't resolve a domain name to an IP address,
It's like not having.
it's similar to not having access to the internet.
True.
So yeah, and of course, like
That's also part of the reason, just for everybody, why like the famous, like everybody I think knows DNS server IP addresses. Like for Cloudflare, it's 1111.
Yeah, or
Quad 9 is 9999, and Google is 8888. So those are like the ones. I don't know what 2222, 3333, whatever. I don't know who the others, but those I know off the top of my head, because if I'm somewhere, and it's good to know those IP addresses. If you're somewhere, and again, like if you don't have
DNS
internet,
is failing, you can try those.
you can try those.
Yeah,
And people like the Foundation for Applied Privacy and stuff like that, they don't have those high value IP addresses. They have some random IP address that they just happen to own. And so those are of course more complicated to sort of like know and stuff. And
Yeah.
I would not know them from the top of my head.
Yeah, usually kind of the big specialty DNS providers take extra care to be really up all the time.
Yeah.
Which can, with other providers like your ISP, happen that they have an issue. With DNS.
Yeah.
So just trying to remember DNS. Yeah. So DNS. That's why DNS is important. But the thing is with Portmaster needs to be in that chain in order to
give you.
Well, in order, yes, of course, in order to secure DNS. So what Portmaster does is kind of it picks up the local DNS queries of your that kind of your device wants to do, and kind of takes them and then sends them securely to the DNS server configured. And that's really great for privacy, and that works really well. We've had issues, we've written that part of Portmaster, I think at least 2 or 3 times, because...
Over the years, not
in the over the years, yeah. So over the last 7 years.
Yeah, not in the last year.
Yeah.
I think we have not touched, I mean, you're currently starting to touching it again, but we have not touched it.
Not just a little. The sun is kind of, I really, noticed that we're back in winter time because the sun is lower because of the time change. So that's a good thing. So Portmaster doing DNS for you is a good thing because it makes it secure. And that was a really, really cool thing also a couple of years ago, when operating systems weren't yet all that confident with
secure DNS.
But nowadays, there's a lot more operating systems doing it well, plus other software that also wants to do it well. So, of course, if there's like multiple softwares on your computer wanting to do secure DNS, but only one can. And that's where conflicts happen. So either your operating system has it configured that will conflict with Portmaster, or you have, which is pretty common for some, VPNs that will have their own DNS server and is possibly as eager to enforce their own as Portmaster is. So, and that's kind of where conflicts happen. And we've noticed that there are good alternatives. We don't want to force Portmaster's DNS on everyone just because we think it's the best.
Even though it is.
Even though it definitely is. But we respect user choices and we want them to go to freedom. But that's kind of the issue now where Portmaster also has to see DNS to some extent in order to block connections. And
based on domain names. It can block it
based on domain names, yes.
Yeah.
So because
we
a
do
lot
filter lists.
We think in domain names, and normally you block domain names, and we want to really be sure that we get every connection that goes there. So we want to make sure that we can identify the domain name a connection is going to, and that's why we need to see DNS. So kind of, that's why it's mandatory at the moment. And what we're now starting to work on is that we're removing the requirement where we'll have to add another system to Portmaster. That's why it's a feature that will be able to monitor DNS more closely. Why is this necessary? Because, okay, this is getting out of hand. Wow.
Come over here. We will move the camera a little.
Is this enough? Should we just...
That works.
Okay, that works for now. Good.
That works for now.
Amazing.
And we will
Amazing.
Live, everything live here. Otherwise, I can quickly get up and try to
it's okay for now. So, we've written a blog post about this also 4 years ago. At least it feels like 4 years ago.
What
about how DNS works on operating systems, and the issue is with operating systems that they just don't send a DNS query over the network stack to the local resolver, because it's network stuff and Portmaster. That's the thing Portmaster does, and it just could see everything. But both on Windows and Linux, there is an option for programs to not send the DNS query via no local network stack, but through an API of the operating system. And that is when Portmaster does not see the query. And if the system resolver then also encrypts their connection with DNS or HTTPS or DNS or TLS, then Portmaster knows nothing of that query. Which
it still will see the connection.
It will still see the connection, be able to block that on other factors, but not on the domain name. So what we need to do is we need to now interface with the system resolver on both Windows and Linux to be able to be notified of DNS queries, so we still have all the data we need so we can block connections. So what we're working on is getting the data we need without requiring Portmaster to be your DNS resolver. And that will increase stability, because you can choose whatever software you like and it will kind of integrate better for DNS. And also, of course, will increase compatibility with other software that still absolutely wants to be mandatory in charge of DNS.
Yeah.
So it kind of, we play nice, or we kind of, that's the idea, to play nice with others, and to also, if you, for some reason, the Portmaster's DNS doesn't work for you, you can switch to a different one and thus also increase your stability. So that's kind of the stuff we're working on right now. That's kind of, as the next step, we're gonna address. And we don't have any timelines yet. We've just started to look into the technology, like what options do we have, and we're now exploring first paths, how to actually implement that. And we'll just have to find out where we land and which solutions there are and how much work there are. So, but it's exciting to be able to push forward here, be able to provide better compatibility, and to provide Portmaster to even more users who until now weren't able to use Portmaster because of a conflict with other software they would also like to use.
Yeah.
So that's something we're looking forward to Yeah,
Making easier.
making it easier.
Making it more stable and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And again, that's just part of the theme for the year. We have been doing tons of under the hood stuff. You talked about database restructures and so forth. I think I got a DM on Mastodon about somebody who's asking about like why is the database growing so much in size and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, we're working on this. We know. We're aware, and Portmaster has been out for many years now, so some folk have, if they have the history module running and so forth, I mean, that is, I think, already fairly okay with compressing over time, but like we know, and some stuff just over the years has been getting more obvious that this will need improvements and fixes, and that's just has been the year so far. And again, we're very happy. The beta has been very stable. Thank you for everybody who has been participating. And we are going to move a lot of that stuff into the stable channel very soon. So super cool. So what you're saying is, and I quickly want to make this like explicit for people. What you're saying is we want to be more compatible, so we will not like the firewall will stay strong, but we will not require the DNS as heavy as we're currently doing, because we will implement an interface in a different way, which will give us the same information as we currently have through enforcing DNS through Portmaster, which is when, again, like there's a conflict and somebody else wants to do DNS as well, you technically still can connect to the internet, but the two DNS systems don't like each other. And because Portmaster is a firewall, it sort of like tells the other stuff to fuck off, and that won't let off either, and then it looks like you don't have internet access. So it is we are working on that, and I'm very happy and excited for it to release. More compatibility also, I think, will come with less headache and overhead of people trying to sort of like figure out how to fix it themselves. There are some guides on the Wiki where you can tell software to point its DNS to localhost and then Portmaster. Then it naturally will just be picked up by Portmaster and stuff like that. But some just don't allow that sort of stuff. And so super cool.
So I'm very much looking forward to that, and so that will give users more freedom. Of course, if more freedom also means always more freedom to fuck up. So that's kind of
always.
It is a hard topic, because Portmaster, the vision of Portmaster is to bring privacy to everyone. And that means that there are safe locks in place, and there are certain settings that you can change, and Portmaster will regularly tell you that that's a really bad idea.
Like allowing incoming connections.
Exactly, like allow all incoming connections. Really bad idea. You can do so, and you can silence notifications in a certain way, but that's kind of where we feel when we want to make Portmaster usable by really everyone, we need to be very careful how to not do that. And I think this will be exactly one of these cases where if there is just the slightest indication and Portmaster detects something possibly configured incorrectly with DNS, then it will definitely tell the user, wait a second, are you sure this is how you want to run this? And then there will be some way to turn it off. But it's not gonna be click oops and then never heard of it again. It's gonna be a bit more, because if you really want, we don't want to stop users from customizing their experience on their own device. We think that's something that belongs to them, and they should be able to do that while having privacy with Portmaster. So that's something we want to do. We want to empower people, but at the same time, we do want to protect them, because we know technology is really hard. and we know it is misunderstood so easily, and that can lead to issues with your security and privacy really, really fast. So that's kind of where we try to kind of find a middle way between the freedom Portmaster gives and kind of how much hand holding it does. So not that easy, but I think this is kind of a good way to go about it, informing the user, being transparent about what's happening, what is Portmaster seeing, and stuff like that. And Portmaster is your kind of assistant for privacy, and that's kind of one of the ideas how we see Portmaster and how we would like to see it evolve long term. And that's kind of one of these steps where we want to empower you to do your stuff, but also at the same time be sure you really understand what you're doing, and if you think what you're doing is what you're doing. Of course, there's no guarantee that this will work out, but we definitely want to cover the common cases where you essentially disable security NS without having any other running. And we're like,
you sure about that?
We're not sure that you want this. Are you sure you want this?
Which of course means a little bit more time because we need to check for such things and so forth. But
But we're just gonna start slow first with technology. So you won't see an update in a couple of weeks. We're like, oh yeah, everything's done and try it out. So we're gonna test the technology if everything works fine, and then we'll kind of slowly surface the functionality with all the bells and whistles attached. So first step is always technology, test that, see if it works, mature that, and then kind of surface the feature more broadly. So
super cool.
So if you want that earlier,
beta.
So it will still be a couple of weeks definitely until it hits beta, but that's if you want to see what's going on. So currently beta is 15 versions ahead of stable. So a lot of versions were just like fixes. So there's not, you won't like see a different UI or something. It's under the hood changes, but there are a couple big ones.
And 15 is a lot. But again, like we have been saying, it is a lot of stuff. We want to actually
we're looking
make it for
very
a longer
much
time.
forward to get this out to stable.
Absolutely. And maybe if you're unsure, also a good recommendation is, as I have been singing the praises of our community for so much in this episode already, but join the Discord and go into the community help section, ask, and people know their stuff about privacy, people know their stuff about other technologies as well. A lot of antivirus talk currently on the Discord. We of course have opinions about that as well. Don't want to get into them right now if there aren't any questions, but there are past live streams where we talked about this as well. Ask the people there. I think you will get a variety of opinions. It's not all mono opinion, which I like as well, that it's differentiated, and just be curious and ask, and I think you will find tons of help there. Or ask us to talk about this in the next live stream. Just leave the comment below or send us an email. And in 2 weeks, I think we will have one in 2 weeks again. We should. You can just join and we will answer that question on the next live stream, or ask right now. Regarding next live stream, because Mike was asking on the Discord if it's an hour earlier, you're right, it is. We had daylight savings changeover in I think the majority of Europe last weekend, and I already had schedules with the US, and I think in North America the changeover will happen this weekend, so, or maybe even a week longer. So we are already in wintertime. Daylight savings is over, and you are absolutely correct. We have been an hour earlier today for that exact reason. But
I didn't think of that.
Me neither. Me neither. But I think YouTube does a better job. I also saw that the Discord is screwed up when it comes to time stuff and so forth. It said 2 p.m. for me today, and that's of course also not true, and it gave me a notification. I think YouTube is very good in that regard. I also tell it or can tell it the time zone each time. And so I think YouTube is, if you're unsure when the live stream will hit, YouTube is a good place. And I usually create the video for the next live stream in the week when it happens. So that people are not too much confused that, well, is this week or next week? No, I will typically do it in the same week. If I'm very much on top of everything, it will be Monday. And if I have tons of stuff on my plate, it will be Thursday. No.
Wednesday.
Thursday. No, but yeah, typically it's at least one day ahead. You're right. So look on YouTube. There, the times are typically the correct ones. But thank you for everybody who's here. I actually did not think about that. We're an hour earlier. No, but super cool. So address the question. Going back to the main topic, I like that we are thinking about all of that stuff, that we're considering all of it, and it also fits into making things easier and easier to start with. And I got a question on GitHub, I think today, about how about some better defaults for certain apps, and I was happy to tell that person there's a place for that. There's a GitHub page. It's the Portmaster community GitHub. It's not ours. It's not part of Safing.
Yeah,
it is.
It's a separate GitHub organization, so it's clear that stuff coming from there is not necessarily from us.
Exactly.
But it's kind of a space for the community to build their own stuff.
Exactly. And one of that thing is app profiles. So you can import them. If you have an application, you can import them before running an application, which makes it easier as well. Because Portmaster only adds an application as soon as it's active in the network. But with the community profile, you can actually import it beforehand, and then this profile will hit immediately. If for some reason the file path is not the correct one, first please make it better in the GitHub profile. I think I have a link there with the regex thingamajig. Regex is a good option. Also a great question. Maybe you can answer that later on. People have been asking how resource intensive or more resource intensive regex is. So, but regex, of course, is the most universal, and if you do it correctly, and this is a great tool that I linked to, which makes it easy for you to actually get the correct regex, and then you can just import it and run it, and it's all good. So the community profiles is the way to go there. You were regex. Tell us.
It's really hard to say. So regex, of course, is a lot more expensive than just kind of the path prefix and the full path stuff. But that's kind of just in relation to what is the impact you will feel if you have a couple of regex rules? 0. If that's the relation between kind of the normal path thing and the regex, or the regex, that might be a relation. But if you kind of zoom out now on kind of your whole CPU, both here. So if it's a ton, if you have 1,000, that might have an impact depending on the power of your device. But if you just do a couple here and there because that's just apps you install and they have the version, their path, or something, then don't worry about that.
And if it will become an issue in 7 years or so, because we said earlier in the episode, well, some of the stuff we figured out 7 years into it, we can tackle that. If you report stuff, if you feel like regex might be the issue, let us know. Send us logs. We need information. So far, I have not seen an impact. So we're speaking out of experience and telling people to use regex and stuff like that. It makes it more universal. It makes it easier. And so I think it's a good way to go. Let me quickly say hello to TCH. Nice to see you as well. Yeah, maybe I will read Marutus Mementos.
Okay.
And you want to finish something else.
So as Rafa said, if we see there's an issue, we'll tackle it. So of course, like just comparing the full path is kind of the simplest option. And on the other side, the regex is kind of the definitely overpowered option for most cases. That's kind of the two extremes. And regex is also really complicated and hard to get right the first time. There are lots of memes about this if you want a good laugh. But there are options in between that we didn't add yet because, we're good with these two at the moment. But if we see there's a need for something in between, we can add that.
Yeah.
So that's not an issue. So there definitely are some optimizations that we probably can do here and there. So don't worry about performance in that regard.
Yeah, and we, especially if you're like watching the live stream, you will know first when cool new stuff hits in beta or something. Mauritus Moments asked, any plans to integrate Tor or I2P similar to the SPN? Quick answer is no, not at the moment. Long answer is we'll see.
Well, the point of SPN is that we built it because we found Tor to be insufficient for everyday use for normal people, not on the death threats. So that's kind of where kind of SPN finds this niche between a VPN that's good for a few things. And then we have Tor, which is a really good tool for other few things, but inadequate for kind of very regular and normal activity. And kind of you have these tools that are kind of for one thing and the other, and kind of if you just are a normal user wanting to browse the web with more privacy, you kind of can either under or overpower it. That's kind of the general feeling. And SPN is kind of in the middle of that. That's kind of the idea of SPN. That's why we created. So I definitely see use cases where people would like to kind of use SPN as their like normal day-to-day thing, and then for some special tasks switch over to Tor for that. I do see the use case. It is pretty complicated to get that right. So also because things will have to work correctly in there, and that's kind of where Portmaster just outperforms, because it is a firewall and the entry point to the SPN, and it can guarantee you it's doing everything right. And that's kind of the issue with Tor. If you're not using Tor browser, if you're using kind of the Tor on your OS, kind of it's not that easy to get configured correctly in all aspects. So that's kind of
but that's the reason why he's asking if we would integrate it. And I guess it's also a matter of how much work it is.
And how much benefit do we actually see? Because for the normal things, you can just install the Tor browser. And if you really want to go over SPN and then through Tor, if you want that, or just exclude it from the SPN.
Yeah, sure. So I agree.
And that's kind of, that would cover most use cases. So I'm not sure of the actual value that we would bring here in that regard.
Exactly.
Yeah, so if you want to expand on that question, it would be interesting to hear your thoughts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Turok and Z, hey guys, just did reinstall and installed Portmaster. Does it matter if you use old interface, haven't installed Web 2 Edge thing? I guess you mean you have not switched over to the beta channel. No, that's okay. You can do the stable channel. The stable channel is fine. If you switch over to the beta channel, then you switch over to the new Edge Web 2 whatever thingamajig is. Yeah, exactly. So that's the only thing. The benefits later on will be that it is lighter on the resources on your computer. But if you don't see like Portmaster eating memory when the UI is open, especially like the UI eating memory, well then you go for it. And Portmaster, you don't have to have the UI open. Like I saw complaints about people who are like, well, I don't like when the UI stays open for so long and the card updates every minute, and I'm like, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like he asks which is faster for gaming now. The UI does not have any that's only.
It doesn't do anything.
It's not faster for
close it.
slower. Exactly. Close it for gaming. That's the thing. Like with gaming,
no UI is the fastest.
Exactly. No UI, less other stuff, auto starting and stuff like that. Portmaster can run in the background easily, and it's designed for that.
It doesn't require anything from the UI.
But if you just as I mentioned, like Discord, of course, is an Electron app. If you have Discord open next to running your game, well, you don't care about your RAM anyway. So maybe get a new RAM stick for that.
Just for Discord.
A mean channel. Go for the beta one. Currently, at least you can wait for the stable one in the next. I guess you mean update channel. And the current
there's no performance difference between these two. Well,
there is.
Really, there is.
The beta one is faster.
Like
the new
core.
The new Kex is faster in certain regards.
Wow.
If you will see the difference, that's a different topic. But I think you can go with the beta one. But it will be, you can, as soon as the version goes for stable, you will have that as well. So it does not impact it that much. We are mainly aiming for stability with also the Kex as well and so forth. And so performance improvements, you should not, if you have difficulties with gaming, then your issue is DNS related, as we talked earlier. The issue
or other stuff.
Yeah, but typically it's DNS. I think insert NFT here is very right in assuming every time when somebody is talking about something, the first thing he jumps on is DNS. And I would agree. Like this is for most people the thing. And typically they changed it away from Cloudflare to something else. And typically if they go back to Cloudflare, it's better again, which is, we have a blog post on this as well, why we opted for Cloudflare. It's not the best option for privacy, but people are complaining about speed if it's not Cloudflare. And so we're like, okay, good.
And the issue is there are other options that are good, but there are no other options that are good globally everywhere.
Exactly.
And that's kind of where we have to consider that we have a global user base and people are just everywhere.
Yeah.
And
the whole globe. Who would have thought? And with Starlink even on ships and stuff like that.
Probably. We don't know. So that's why we need to choose a default
that works.
DNS provider, one that works everywhere. And then you can go in and figure out. And that's kind of what we do in the welcome screen. If you install Purpose for the first time and open the UI, it will actually tell you, hey, this is the default. Would you like to change it? Here you go. We would love you to.
And they do. And then it's slow. And
then that's the point where you should
know what you're doing.
Yeah, know what you're doing. Be like, oh, interesting. There are different options. Like, how fast are they? And then you can open their website, do some tests and stuff. And there are utilities that do this. We would have liked to add this, but it didn't get on the list of important things. to do. But that's definitely one thing we thought about. Like, hey, can we just, if you open a drop-down of DNS servers, can we just ping all of them at once and like tell you which one is fast? That would be so cool. Yes. Oh, it would have been so cool. But yeah, it wasn't in there. We didn't have the resources to do that. So, but yeah, so.
And the value is not that high. You can figure it out on your own. And if you.
Yeah. So, and normally people do not choose their provider. Either they already have their favorite provider. Yeah. Definitely the private people do have that. Or they don't care, then they just click next. And if there's people in between that like are beginning to get into that, they should be spending a bit of time on research.
Exactly. Exactly. And then it's fun to figure out as well. That's the reason why my answer was look into the wiki. We have a couple of quick settings, but there are tons on the wiki. People have already provided, again, it's a community wiki as well. Other people have provided suggestions and stuff in there. The community wiki is a very cool place for DNS, different DNS providers and stuff like that. Just have a look in there and decide which one you want to go with. And super cool to rock in New Zealand. Super cool. I'd love to hear from you. If you ever decide on going with SPN, I'd love to hear from you how you like it. I have been in contact with a couple of people in the not so distant neighboring country of yours. Apparently SPN works well with them. Not sure about New Zealand though. I'd love feedback. We are always amazed by how people in the same country even tell us so many different things about the performance, and it always comes down to a lot of times the DNS provider they're choosing, and then sometimes on what they're actually doing with their devices and so forth. And then at the very bottom, what device they have, because we saw people from the APAC region with very, very, very slow devices as well. And with them, we understood, okay, the bottleneck is the user device there as well, which is also moving away from Electron will make this easier and so forth.
And Portmaster will actually help you in that kind of, so if you get notification from Portmaster that something along the lines of speed up website loading, that's the indication that your DNS is either having issues or is actually slower than expected than a normal DNS. So then you can either be like, I really, really love my DNS, I want to stick with it, then Portmaster will help you by doing something a little unorthodox, but it will speed up things. Or you can be like, hey, wait a second, that shouldn't be the case. My DNS should be fast, and then you can go and switch.
To be honest, even though we appreciate all of the people who are supporting us and going with Portmaster Pro, where SPN is included, is the best support you can give us. Turok asks if it's gonna help for gaming. He'll have a look. It will not help for gaming. It won't make it. I mean, we heard of people who told us that their internet speeds got faster with SPN, but to be honest, love all of them. But I am a little bit skeptical about that because I don't know. Like if
there are special cases, like if you have an ISP that is really an ass. Then it could be.
But I hope that's not the case for you two, Rock, and I hope that's not the case for anybody.
Normally shouldn't be the case.
It so should not, and if it is, you should talk to your representatives and get that fixed because this is not good behavior, I think, and maybe consider switching ISP if it's possible in your region because this is shitty behavior, and you should not pay us for that reason. If you want to support what we're doing, go for it.
Definitely.
Love that. But for like fixing your shitty ISP, change your ISP first. Don't give them your money. Vote with your dollars, euros, whatever, and go. Somewhere else. I think that's a better solution. So Turok just said okay. Again, would love to have cool customers and people supporting us, but. To be honest, won't fix your gaming. And it can make some stuff harder, especially in the APAC region, because our network is not that like
Not that strong.
Exactly. We don't have that many servers there. And it can make stuff harder for gaming as well. For privacy, it's good. But for gaming, depending on what games you play as well. But if you're asking those sorts of questions, I guess you're playing fast games. And even though I'm playing some FPS games as well, I would still not recommend running it in your region via the SPN. Because I'm just, if you try it and let us know, love to know. But I think in Europe and North America, it's the best bet that this will not make it faster, but won't have an impact. That's how I would put it. Battlefield, see, not a game I'm currently playing though, but FPS. Super cool. Okay.
9 minutes to go?
9 minutes to go, so again, good reminder. Get your last questions in. We will be doing a wrap up and doing our usual rambling at the end here before closing up. You want to share something? Different?
The sun has gone down behind the building over there. That's good. So
super great.
We just hit the perfect spot where not to do the live stream. Between the sun coming in the window and then back down under the building. That was really interesting to see that face close out the way.
We will do
it. Not used to that.
We will close the blinds next time beforehand. We closed the window, so learning and growing.
I was thinking about a joke I can do.
About Halloween?
Not necessarily, but New Zealand and SPN nodes and the Fires of Gondor. So I'm like, where's the joke? I didn't find it, sorry. Did you come up with the joke?
No.
Okay. No. Okay, sorry guys. No Halloween joke.
Okay, well then. I guess that has been our live stream for today. I wish everybody a happy Halloween if you're celebrating it. If you're not, like us, maybe I can tell Mike. He asked that haven't we bought candy for the kids? Kids are not going around that much. It starts American culture sweeps over, comes for Europe in that regard, I guess. But it's more like just parties. That's true. That's true. Kids in the streets is not a thing around here.
Not so much.
No. No. More, I think, during Easter. During Easter, we have those kids. With the they're making noises and stuff. Okay. Well then.
What?
Ratchen. Okay. We don't have to get into that. Okay, whatever.
But that's something on the countryside. That's not.
That happens in my city, and I'm not too far from here.
Okay, that's weird.
That's weird. And of course,
send me pictures of that. I want to see that.
And of course, the three wise men knocking on each door.
Yeah. So there are lots of either Catholic or old kind of farmers stuff going on in spring, and also fall, like Pjachtenlov, a super weird thing. Wow.
Yeah.
That's no. That's probably our actual version of Halloween, but
you're right.
But it's actually, it's not party and fun. It's like more really scary stuff, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, but I think people have heard about Campus, and Pärten is the more scary version of Campus. Yeah. So Campus is the little,
I actually
little guy with horns.
Saw that once, and they were actually
hunting people.
Well, no. I was there live, and it was really scary. And they had policemen just walking with them, just to be sure everything stays in order. Like, that's a really good idea. And Austria is nowhere where there's no violence here.
Yeah.
But they found it necessary to walk with them because
who knows?
things can happen apparently.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's tons of fun for the kids because they get actually hunted by those pack, at least in the town.
Fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure about that fun part. But sure.
I know people who like scary stuff.
Okay.
Those people have
Good.
fun in regards to this.
Lots of fun.
So don't get, be careful around driving and stuff like that with all the kids on the street. Happy Halloween. Have a good one. And see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.